Hello, I'm Jody Wolf. You're watching Expoz today, August 11, 2016 at 10:31 p.m. Birmingham. And the topic, Torah codes, the importance. Do they tell you the truth? Do they tell you what's really going to happen in the future? How accurate are they? Let me tell you a little bit about the Torah codes. Number one, it can't be used in any Bible. It has to be the original Bible carried by the Jews, and it has to be the first 5 books, the Torah. That, to many Jews, especially the Orthodox, this is all the Bible there is. So that is the book where the Torah codes come from. You can't go by, one of ours, just a American Standard or the King James or anything like that, and expect to get the same information out of it that they do the Torah. And so this is where they come from. And again, I mentioned not too long ago that Glazerson started that. And when Apple had the first computer, they were able to build a program, and they could only handle a half of one book, like Genesis, a half of a book at a time, and it would take a very long time to extract and mark the words that they were searching for. Where today, the Bible, the computer, it's instantly. And the kind of information that comes out of the Torah is almost anything that you want to think of. The Torah talked about the Twin Towers, said that 3,000 people would die. It talked about Kennedy's assassination, talked about the attempt on Reagan. The Torah talks about everything of importance, talks about the things that hits America because of our turning our back on Israel, the judgments that come here because what we do there. It's all there. Everything's in the Torah. Everything. But you can't always just go in and ask a question and pull it out, because although it may be there, it may not be for your time or a time that you're looking for. But this did happen, and this is very interesting. 45 days before the election in Israel, with the prime minister in 2015, I think it was in March, Netanyahu, he was being defeated, soundly defeated. And the new prime minister, by the way, my computer just quit, and it's been over 3 hours. So I'm still waiting for it to come back up. But his opponent, I apologize, he had already started celebrating, because every TV show said Netanyahu lost. Every radio station, Netanyahu lost. Every paper, Netanyahu lost. Netanyahu didn't get that excited, but one thing happened that nobody else really knew. And Glazerson went into the Torah codes and looked to peek to see who the prime minister would be, and typed in the date. And it came back and said that it would be Benjamin Netanyahu. And also said a number of other things, but one very important, that he would be the prime minister that would build the Temple of David. meaning he'll be alive and he'll be in charge of Israel when they build the next temple. But keep in mind, the temple, I take that back, the tabernacle. That's my word, tabernacle of David, not the temple of David. Tabernacle is a movable temple. It can be set up and moved again, set up and moved again. But it has to be done in certain ways. But it has to have everything supplied for it, the original temple items, before it can be a tabernacle. So Netanyahu will be in power when the tabernacle of David will be built. Well, you're seeing, hearing, and reading every day now that they're even the Arabs, get this now, are saying it's okay. The Jews need to build a temple. And so it seems like there's very little opposition against that. Now, if you looked at it, I think my computer just came on. If you looked at it, in a way, my train of thought just went right out the door. Anyway, if you look at it in a way that the Ark of the Covenant, the harp, the Holy Grail, and other items, they have everything made. They have all the garments to be worn. And Cohen, by the way, is the name of the one who will be the high priest or the high rabbi, the only one who mediate between God and the people. His name is Cohen. That is in Torah. And in fact, I read that myself several years ago. And I never forget that name because I know some Cohens in the town that I was a policeman in, and I was friends with them. And but anyway, newspapers, TV stations, radio stations, internet, everything. Benjamin Netanyahu is not the prime minister. He is soundly defeated by his opponent. Wow. Netanyahu didn't get excited because he had been told by, I don't know if it was Glazerson himself, but someone that was trusted told Benjamin Netanyahu, said, look, you're going to be elected. You'll be there. And he went to bed. Went to bed that night, 9:30 p.m., something like that. Got up the next morning and everything reading. I mean, everything. It was that night when Netanyahu went to bed, as the other party opponent partied all night long. But as the next morning came, when Netanyahu got up from bed, all stations, radio stations, news, the papers, everything said, Israel's Benjamin Netanyahu defying expectations, pulls off big victory. And talking about that was a big deal. And so with that in mind, in the same Torah, the same book, by the same man, Glazerson, our president will be Donald Trump. I don't care what all you read and hear and from other things. Everybody is trying to destroy this man. Everybody. And I give you a quick hypothetical example, and I know you can pick your own or choose your own or look at it in a different way, but just say you're an athlete. Say you're on the field and you've been doing this same thing for 10 years, and you've been doing the very same thing. Like, say you're throwing a spear, but there's a name for it. Or you're in a high jump, or you're in a broad jump. and you do the same thing. You practice 6 hours every day. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, here comes one guy that can do a little bit of everything. They said, well, look, we want a man who's done one thing 10,000 times rather than a man who's done 1,000 things 10 times. And this is what Donald Trump does. He's done 1,000 things 10 times or 5 times. While you have all these other guys that's sitting up on the porch right now, they've done one thing 1,000 times. But then here you got a kid comes up, never entered your field of competition, and he beats your pants off. And that upset you. And it didn't only upset you, it made you mad because it beat you and all other 13 of your buddies who's been doing the same thing for 10 years. But yet he's done it once. But he beat you. That's the way it is. When God puts a plan in motion, that plan will end up in the result that God wanted it to end up as. That's why in the Torah codes and through dreams and visions and prophecy or the dreams and visions that says Donald Trump will be president. I'm not losing sleep over it. I get aggravated because I hear all the malarkey, but I'm not losing sleep because I still know he's going to win. And everybody take that to heart. Just be still. Just be still. And when I see it, then I change the channel. I'll go to this other comedy over here than this one with all these Republicans sitting on a porch trying to connive and pitching fits and stuff like this. And you know all the stuff about Romney and Cruz, and I'm sure the other 13 or 12 of them have similar closets that hadn't been opened yet. But just take it as what it is. A better man came along and he took your job. Jody Wolf Expoz.